The boxing world woke up to a sentence that felt unreal at first, like a rumor that escaped from a late-night group chat and somehow made its way onto every screen on the planet. Anthony Joshua, former unified heavyweight world champion, Olympic gold medalist, global icon, had agreed to fight Jake Paul, the social media star turned boxer, in a sanctioned heavyweight bout next month. And immediately, the reactions split the sport in half. Some laughed, some panicked, some called it genius. Others called it career suicide, because this was not just another crossover fight, this was not another retired MMA name or faded legend. This was Anthony Joshua, a man built in a laboratory for heavyweight destruction, standing across from someone the sport never planned to take seriously. And yet here we are. Jake Paul is mad. People say mad for even wanting this, mad for believing it, mad for speaking it into existence. But madness has always been the fuel behind impossible moments, and Jake has built his entire boxing journey on doing what people say should never happen. They said fight a real boxer. They said fight someone your size. They said fight a world champion. And now, standing at the edge of the biggest gamble of his life, Jake Paul is staring directly at the most intimidating heavyweight of this era and smiling. Anthony Joshua is not just a name, he is a symbol. He is size, power, pedigree, discipline. He is the product of Olympic boxing systems, elite coaching, and years spent trading blows with the most dangerous men on the planet. When he walks into a room, the air feels heavier. When he steps into a ring, people expect violence. And when Jake Paul says he believes he will knock Anthony Joshua out, the world pauses, not because they believe him, but because they want to see if belief alone can bend reality. Usually Jake picked names that came with fame but not danger. Men past their primes, men who built their legacy in other sports, fighters who were smaller, slower, or unfamiliar with pure boxing. And every time critics dismissed the wins as predictable, as staged, as meaningless. But this time there is no safety net, there is no asterisk, there is no excuse. Waiting at the door, Anthony Joshua is a real heavyweight champion in every sense of the word. Jake was supposed to fight Tommy Fury. He signed the contract, he trained for it. Fury, a real boxer, young, hungry, undefeated, but that fight slipped away. Then came Tyron Woodley, a real fighter, but not a real boxer. People argued endlessly about it, but none of that matters now, because none of those names compare to Anthony Joshua. Joshua is a monster. The kind of fighter who makes heavyweights nervous. The kind of man who stands across from Tyson Fury and makes fans believe anything is possible. A fighter who traded wars with Klitschko, who went 12 rounds with Usyk, who learned the hard way what elite boxing really demands. And yet, even monsters bleed. Anthony Joshua was once viewed as unstoppable. His combinations were textbook, his power terrifying, his presence overwhelming. He moved like a giant who learned ballet. His jab was heavy, his right hand lethal, his knockouts felt inevitable, like gravity pulling opponents to the canvas. He looked like the future of heavyweight boxing, carved out of steel. Then came Alexander Usyk, a smaller man, a technician, a master of angles, footwork, timing, and rhythm. A fighter who did not fear Joshua power but dissected it. Usyk exposed something deeper than a tactical flaw. He exposed a psychological crack. He forced Joshua to think rather than destroy. He forced him to adapt rather than impose. And in doing so, he transformed Joshua forever. After that loss, many people wrote Joshua off. That was the mistake, because instead of breaking him, it rebuilt him. The old version of Joshua relied on athleticism and force. The new version is calculated, patient, tactical. He learned to throw more punches, manage energy, control space, increase jab volume, and survive 12-round wars without panicking. He became smarter, tougher, more complete. And that matters, because the Anthony Joshua facing Jake Paul is not the same man who rushed in against Ruiz or loaded up on single bombs. He is a heavyweight who understands tempo, distance, and punishment. Jake Paul, on the other hand, built his style fast. There was no long amateur career, no Olympic system, no decades of muscle memory. His boxing was constructed under bright lights and louder cameras built around athleticism, confidence, and a powerful right hand. Jake fights like a man who believes in the moment. He presses forward, looks for the finish, and commits fully when he smells weakness. His right cross is real. His left hook is dangerous, and his belief is unshakable. But belief does not shorten reach. Anthony Joshua stands significantly taller, longer arms, wider frame. Fight night, he outweighs Jake by more than 30 pounds. That is not cosmetic, that is physics. Joshua can hit Jake from a distance, Jake cannot. Safely answered, Joshua jab will not just score points, it will bruise, drain, and control. The clinch will not be neutral, it will be suffocating. Every second on the inside favors the natural heavyweight, and Joshua knows how to use it. He has years of experience leaning, tying, exhausting, and punishing smaller men. He understands how to make size hurt. But boxing is not just size, it is intelligence, and this is where the gap widens. Joshua has fought elite minds: Klitschko, Usyk, Parker, Ruiz, Fury, leveled opponents who required real strategy. He has changed styles mid-fight, survived adversity, adapted under fire. He knows how to read feints, break patterns, and punish mistakes over time. Jake has never faced that level of chess. His fights are built around pressure and moments when the knockout does not come early. He can slow when opponents survive his best shots. His structure loosens. Against Tommy Fury, we saw the cracks, hesitation, fatigue, desperation. Against Joshua, those moments are fatal. But here is the danger psychology. Anthony Joshua carries pressure like a mountain. He is expected to win. Anything less than dominance is humiliation. Losing to Jake Paul would not just be a loss, it would be legacy, destruction, the kind that never fades. That pressure can freeze fighters. It can make them cautious or reckless. It can turn confidence into hesitation. Jake Paul has none of that. He is the underdog, the joke, the experiment. Any success is victory. Any survival is validation. He fights free, unburdened, unafraid, and that freedom is dangerous. Jake is hungry. He wants legitimacy. He wants respect. He wants to prove that this journey is real. Fighters in the community support him quietly because they respect the courage it takes to step into this fire. Anthony Joshua fights for history, 3-time heavyweight champion status, redemption, validation, survival. That is not the same hunger. So what happens when they meet? Most likely, Joshua controls the fight from the opening bell. The jab establishes distance, the size becomes obvious. Jake struggles to enter safely. He eats shots, he clinches, he resets. Joshua remains patient, methodical, punishing the rounds. Pile up the weight drains Jake. The right hand eventually lands clean, and the fight ends. But boxing has never been a sport of guarantees. All it takes is one mistake, one lapse, one moment where pressure cracks focus. Jake Paul believes that moment exists. He believes Anthony Joshua can be hurt. He believes he can shock the world, and belief has rewritten history before. This is not just a fight. It is a collision between world's legacy versus ambition, pedigree versus defiance, the old order versus the new chaos. Anthony Joshua is the favorite, the professional, the king. Defending the gate, Jake Paul is the intruder, the challenger, the problem child. One will walk out changed forever, and when the bell rings, words stop mattering, only fists decide. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, the fight nobody asked. Fotha fight everyone will watch.